If you want to share the commemoration with others, you can do so by joining our X or Twitter conversation using the hashtag IDEP2023 and hashtag #EndPoverty. You can see them over there. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the two masters of ceremony today. First, I'm going to introduce Mrs. Diamond Legender. She is a photographer and a videographer who was born and raised in Brownsville, Brooklyn, in New York, and she resides there. Her family and friends, which include all of us today who are here now, call her Icy. Welcome, Icy. It's a pleasure to me as well to introduce Mr. Rio Hada. He leads the thematic engagement at the Office of the United Nations Commission on Human Rights. He works to ensure the human rights of every person are always at the forefront of sustainable development, poverty reduction, and the rule of law to leave no one behind. Mr. Hada, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for that warm welcome, Martin. Dear friends, guests who travel from far away and nearby countries, and guests who are unable to travel but are joining us through Facebook Live, to the children and young people in the audience today, my co-MC and I welcome you to the UN Garden. Today we stand together at this commemorative stone. The stone honors the victims of extreme poverty and reminds us to always include voices and knowledge in all that we do.
On October 17, 1987, more than 100,000 people gathered at the Trocadero Plaza in Paris, where the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was signed 75 years ago. They gathered to honor the victims of extreme poverty, violence, and hunger. In 1992, the UN General Assembly declared October 17th as the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty. This day honors the millions of people around the world suffering from poverty, pays tribute to their daily courage in fighting poverty, and shares their aspirations for the future. This day represents a safe space for people whose voices are unheard, for their meaningful participation, for the realization of their human rights and human dignity. Today, we, people with lived experience of poverty, communities, United Nations agencies, and civil society representatives will reflect on what type of society we want to live in, what is needed to ensure that, and recommit ourselves to the goal of ending poverty by 2030 by making a call for decent work and social protection, putting dignity in practice for all. We would like to make this commemoration participatory, and so we want to ask you to reflect and write your experiences and solutions to build an ideal society. Paper shapes will be circulated to you throughout the commemoration. There will be 3 shapes representing jobs and 3 shapes representing social rights. Please pick one shape and a pen and hold on to them until the last part of the commemoration. And after the commemoration, you're all warmly invited to our reception at the ATD Fourth Ward House located at 175 First Avenue. You can find the address on the QR code also. So dear friends, I'm now pleased to introduce you to Mr. John Wilmoth, Director from the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, who will be sharing the remarks of the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres. John?
Thank you for the introduction, Rio, and I think I'm honored to present these remarks on behalf of the Secretary General. In our world of plenty, poverty should have no home. Yet as we mark the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty, nearly 700 million people are barely scraping by, living on less than $2.15 per day. Over 1 billion people are deprived of basic needs like food, water, health care, and education. Billions more lack sanitation and access to energy, jobs, housing, and social safety nets. Meanwhile, conflicts, the climate crisis, discrimination and exclusion, particularly against women and girls, are deepening the distress. This is compounded by an outdated, dysfunctional, and unfair global financial system that hinders developing countries from investing in alleviating poverty and achieving the SDGs. At current rates, almost 500 million people will still be living in extreme poverty in 2030. This is unacceptable. At the SDG Summit in September, world leaders recognized the need to reform the international financial architecture and committed to a bold plan to rescue the Sustainable Development Goals and accelerate efforts to eradicate poverty everywhere. This includes support for an SDG stimulus of at least $500 billion per year in financing for investments to achieve this. Leaders also agreed on targeted action aimed at alleviating poverty and suffering for all people, from transformed food and education systems to decent jobs and expanded social protection, as this year's theme highlights. Ending poverty is the challenge of our time, but it is a challenge we can win. On this important day, let us renew our commitment to a world free of poverty.
Thank you, John, for sharing those inspiring remarks. As the Secretary General said, ending poverty is a challenge we can win if we commit ourselves to achieving a world free of poverty where every person's human rights and dignity is recognized and respected. I would like now to introduce a group of young people from Life Project for Youth. This is an NGO focusing on the professional inclusion of young people in extreme poverty. Unfortunately, one of them, Mr. Mamadou Dioudoulet Diallo, a young person, was unable to join us in person today because he was refused a travel visa. So ironically, this is a reality of people living in poverty, exclusion from participation.
We wanted to make sure to ensure that Mamadou's voice was still heard on this day. We will be sharing a recording of Mamadou's message of how people are perceived and the importance of being respected in the work you do, no matter the type of work you do. Mamadou will be speaking in French. Please use the QR code to access the translation of Mamadou's statement.
Je m'appelle Mamadou Diallo, je viens de Guinée-Conakry et j'ai 26 ans. En Guinée, j'étais étudiant et aussi engagé auprès d'un parti politique. J'ai participé à pas mal de manifestations. Ça m'a causé des soucis et j'ai dû quitter le pays. Je suis passé par le Mali, le Burkina Faso, le Niger, la Libye pour arriver en Italie. Enfin, je suis arrivé en France en 2017. J'ai obtenu mon statut de réfugié en 2020. Aujourd'hui, je travaille, je suis intérimaire, parfois dans le milieu du bâtiment, parfois comme préparateur de commandes. Mais quand je suis arrivé en France, au début, je ne connaissais personne. J'ai galéré. J'aime écrire. Aujourd'hui, j'écris un film pour partager mon histoire, mes vécus et l'histoire de certains de mes amis. Par exemple, je travaillais dans un restaurant, je faisais la plonge, mais j'étais le moins respecté par rapport à ceux qui travaillaient à l'accueil. Peut-être parce que moi, je faisais la vaisselle. Pourtant, faire la plonge, le ménage, ça peut être un travail décent si on te considère à ta juste valeur. Quand je suis arrivé en Italie, je travaillais parfois de 7h à 18h et on nous payait 30 € la journée. C'était pour faire un travail dans la plantation tomates olives. C'est un travail très difficile et physique parce que tu vas te courber toute la journée et ça fait très mal au dos. Ces employeurs profitaient de notre situation vu qu'on n'avait pas de papier pour nous faire travailler si dur et de nous payer si peu. Et toi, tu trouves ça normal parce que tu n'as pas le choix. Parfois, tu sais que le travail n'est pas décent, mais tu es tenu obligé de le faire pour pouvoir subvenir à tes besoins. C'est pas une personne qui t'oblige de le faire, c'est parce que tu n'as pas le choix. Pourtant, on passe plus de temps au travail qu'à la maison. Alors, c'est très important d'avoir l'amour de son métier.
Thank you, Mamadou. Ms. Dian Safitri from Indonesia will now share the importance of having opportunities to know and develop your passions and yourself in order to do the work that suits you.
Hello everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Dian Safitri. I'm 24 years old from Kampung Sawah, North Jakarta, Indonesia. I work as a graphic designer for a company who's specializing in personal care and beauty product marketing. I live with my 2 older sisters and my parents. Our family life is quite lucky but full of hard work and happiness. In Kampung Sawah, many people are scavengers who pick up boxes, bottles, plastic, and sort and recycle it. Many people selling food, do laundries, and making really small business, including my father, because it's a bit difficult to find a job in this area because this area has left behind. Me, I have passionate about art, especially drawing and painting since I was little. When I was in junior high school, I asked my mom, "Can you buy me a laptop?" Because there was a help from the government, so we can have a laptop. My mom told me, "Yeah, you're good at this. Why don't you find a school that makes you really skillful in this area?" Because nearby my area, there is a school with multimedia concentration. I don't like selling things, so I told my mom, I don't think that I want to work in the marketing field directly selling something to people. That's why I want to make myself more skillful. This way, I can have more opportunities than the other people who live in this area. I love the creativity and the freedom of expression that I can manifest through graphic design. So I tell myself, this is the things that you want, this is the job that you want, and you have to pursue it. So I can say the most important thing is to get to know about yourself, knowing what you want to do. And of course, you still need support in what you want to do. To have skill training and open yourself to opportunity, and of course, to take a chance. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dia. Ms. Lakshmi Chauhan from India will share a message of determination despite facing discrimination as a woman.
Hello everyone, I'm Lakshmi, I'm 24 years old. I have lived my whole life in Sangam Vihar, New Delhi in India. It's difficult to find a good job in my family, in my area. There are 6 family members in my family. My father is owner of a little grocery shop and my mother is helping. To me, decent work is when I deliver a good work and company gives a fair price. I have experience in selling and handling e-commerce platform, but in reality, my dream is to become a dancer an actor. I feel very positive and happy when I'm dancing. I forget all the pressure and all the stress. However, I'm facing some problems. The neighbor says to me, my family, she's not a good girl. She's wearing bad dresses. But I'm choosing my own way. I do shows, dance competition, and come home at late night. Because of this, my parents were angry and did not support me. And also money is barrier. I had joined a dance group, but I could not join the dance academy in Mumbai because it was too expensive. Then I tried to open my own dance studio. But the COVID pandemic had started and I could not pay the rent, so I closed my classes. Then my parents says you need to work to support the family, but if I choose dance, then my salary won't be as good, and I will not be savings. That's why my parents say to change career option, because it gives you life choices. It's a lot of pressure for me, but dancing is important to me and I want to follow my passion. I took some time to talk to my parents about my career, my dance and my own life. This time they didn't think about the neighbors. They thought about me. It's not always easy, but if I'm happy, they are also happy.
That's right.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Ms. Samira Hamuda, who also has inspirational determination, will now share a message of supporting her community and women's empowerment.
Hello everyone, I'm Samira Hamuda. I'm 23 years old and from the Akkar region in Lebanon. Akkar is a poor area where it's very rare to find a job. I know people like pharmacists and engineers who are working in supermarkets and as waiters. I'm translator. I graduated 2 years ago and haven't found a job. In my village, there's one only public school. There's limited electricity provided by the government, but some villages have a generator. My father has one and he helps others get electricity. I see some young girls who get engaged. They generally stop going to school after getting married. Children and young people should all have the right to continue their education.
That's right.
For this reason, I joined the NGO LP4Y Life Project for Youth, where I can learn how to open my own NGO. My dream is to lead an organization that will help poor families, support women's rights, and help children with their education. I am already working with 7 women to help people in our village. One of them is a lawyer, to teach us our rights and to support women to get involved in politics. My cousin, who is a dietitian, is going to help us with awareness raising on the issues of motherhood, nutrition, and how to prevent diabetes. And I can also give English classes. The main issue we are facing now is that we cannot get the NGO registered, and we can't get the funding until we are official. So it's a big problem to get the papers because the government is closed. I call every 2 days. They always tell me to call back in a month. But despite all these problems, my dream remains. I want women to enter society and to obtain all their rights. I want women to go out in the streets freely without having a man with them. That's why my motto is never give up. Great things take time. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane, Lakshmi, Sumaira, and Mamadou for sharing with us your personal experience in the pursuit of decent work for all. and having the determination to follow your passions despite the challenges. Now I would like to introduce Miss Michelle White from Boston, Massachusetts, who describes herself as an optimistic advocate for people experiencing homelessness, poverty, and hunger. And it was her personal experience of caring for her child's medical needs that led her to advocacy work. Michelle, the floor is now yours.
Thank you so much, Rio, for that introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Michelle White. I'm a grad student. I'm a mother and an advocate from Boston. My 7-year-old is the most unique of all 3 of my children. He is the one who started my advocacy journey. I had what is known as a high-risk pregnancy. My son was born 10 weeks early, and he has multiple disabilities. For the first 6 months of his life, he did not see the outside. After he was released, the hospital that we received care in, they had a revolving door. And I would always say, oh, that revolving door. Why? Because we were in and out of that hospital for the first 3 years of his life. My son has a chronic lung disease. He has respiratory problems. And prior to the pandemic, we were constantly in isolation because we really couldn't have that many people around us. He has mobility issues. He has balance issues, and he doesn't walk. He has feeding issues, and he doesn't eat by mouth. He has speech issues. He doesn't speak. He says mama, and that's about it. Finding care for my son is like a puzzle or a maze. A pediatric nurse is something that's very, very rare because it takes a very unique skill set. People get nervous when they have children with a lot of medical issues. There are a lot of tubes, there are a lot of wires, and it takes a lot of time. When nurses come to my home, I have to train them. Why? Because I know my son best. I can never find adequate child care, so I am his primary caregiver. When you have a child who is disabled, he doesn't go to regular daycare. He needs a specialty daycare. When I applied, what I was told was that my son was too complex for them to care for him. So there was only one option, mom, and that was it. I'm his teacher. I'm his physical therapist. I'm his occupational therapist. I'm his speech therapist. I'm his gen ed teacher. I do everything for him. All of this prevents me from working, but I'm working. I'm not being paid for my work. I'm doing direct care work of a trained professional, multiple trained professionals. And I've been working for almost 8 years, unpaid. I don't get cash assistance. I started to get cash assistance in January, but I've been cut off 3 times. 3 times. I'm getting recertification every 90 days. Something's wrong with the system. Going through the process of having to prove that you need help, to prove that you need resources, there's too much red, blue, green, orange, and purple tape, and you have to literally bend over backwards. A lot of people like to say that they're behind the 8 ball. For people in poverty, people who are underrepresented, underserved, women of color, who are single parents, they're not even on the pool table. We've got to be at the table first to be behind the 8 ball. I remember someone saying to me, you can get paid for taking care of your son, but you would have to sign custody over to the state in order to get paid. I said, absolutely not. A parent shouldn't have to put their child in a state system in order to get funding to care for your child. Being my son's unpaid caregiver, his social worker, indefinitely is a policy that needs to change. I think in order for it to change, policymakers need to spend a month in my life. And that means they need to spend 30 days in a situation where there are limited resources, 30 days with limited quality food, 30 days with limited sleep, and all while providing constant care, quality care. If I made policy, I would create social protections for families who have children with limited abilities, regardless of what that is. It does not have to be anything that's specific, because we are all individuals and we all have different challenges. Healthcare providers are aware of all of these challenges when they release families' homes, and they're having and should be the first line of protection. My son is a blessing to me, as I said, because he opened my eyes into people with disability, and it changed my lens. He changed my perspective and my understanding of what the underrepresented population are dealing with, what women are dealing with, what people of color continue to deal with, what people who are not fully able to, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, what they're dealing with. COVID gave me an opportunity to put that new perspective into action. When everything moved online, I was able to complete my bachelor's degree in psychology. I could never do it because I couldn't find adequate childcare. That propelled me into getting my master's degree in urban planning. I think a lot of people don't fully realize the importance of urban planning, which focuses a lot on public health issues. If you're in a building where you are limited and there are stairs, there's no way for you to get out. It's a public health issue. When you have policies and no one challenges them, they continue to do as usual. I'm one who will challenge, because I continue to be challenged by multiple systems where social protections are not afforded to those in need. I can't save the world, but I'm going to do something to save as many as I can. The direction that I'm going now in my journey is all due to my son. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle, for sharing your experience, but most of all for your passion and for being such a fierce advocate. It is now my pleasure to introduce Miss Julia Miranda. I met Julia last night. She's a first-year student at NYU who has been involved in ATD actions in New York for several years. And today, she will sing for us Bill Withers' A Lovely Day, and if you feel moved to do so, please feel free to sing along.
Hi everyone, my name is Julia Miranda. I'm an 18-year-old student and singer-songwriter, and this song is Lovely Day by Bill Withers. And I think it's really important to hear this now, because it reminds us of all the people that keep us going. So, thank you.
When I wake up in the morning, love, and the sunlight hurts my eyes,
joy to this space. Please welcome students from the United Nations International School who will read the text of the commemorative stone in 6 UN languages: English, Arabic, Chinese, French, Russian, and Spanish.
Hi, I'm Rohan, and I'm going to be reading the script in English. Wherever men and women are condemned to live in extreme poverty, human rights are violated. To come together to ensure that these rights be respected is our solemn duty. Joseph Rosinski.
Hello, my name is Lena, and I will be reciting in Arabic. إنما وجد أناس حكم عليهم العيش بالبؤس تكون هنالك حقوق الإنسان منتهكة. التعاون والاحترامها هو واجب مقدس. برزنسكي.
Hello, my name is James Liu, and I'm going to be reciting in Chinese. 哪里有人被迫生活在赤贫中，哪里的人权就被忽视、剥夺。团结起来，为使人权受到尊重，是我们的神圣义务。约瑟夫。
Good afternoon. My name is Irina, and I will be reciting in Russian. Там, где человек вынужден жить в нищете, нарушаются права человека. Объединиться к борьбе за уважение этих прав есть священный долг каждого. Жозеф Режинский.
Hello, my name is Charles, and I'll be reciting in French. Là où des hommes sont condamnés à vivre dans la misère, les droits de l'homme sont violés. S'unir pour les faire respecter est notre droit sacré.
Hi, I'm Anisha. I'll be reciting in Spanish. Allí donde hay mujeres y hombres condenados a vivir a la miseria, los derechos humanos son violados. Unirse para hacerlos respetar es un deber sagrado.
Thank you. The message written on this stone, proclaiming that extreme poverty is a violation of human rights, is as relevant today as it was when the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was signed. We would now like to observe a moment of silence in honor and remembrance of the victims of extreme poverty, to be followed by the Lavender Light, Black and People of All Color, Lesbian and Gay Gospel Choir singing a Sam's Cook, A Change is Going to Come.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there. long time coming, and I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Then I go to my brother, and I say, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Oh yes, there's been times that I thought I could last so long. I think that I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, and I know change gonna come. Oh yes it will. A change is gonna come. I know that a change is gonna come. Someday soon. I know that change is gonna come. Yes it will, yes it will. A change is gonna come. I know. A change is gonna come. Oh yeah. A change is gonna come. A change is gonna come. A change is gonna come. Say it, say it, say it. A change is gonna come. Coming, coming, coming now. A change is gonna come. Oh, a change is gonna come.
Yes, a change is gonna come when we stand together in solidarity and commit to do our part in ending poverty. Thank you, Love and the Light, for your powerful voices, your powerful message. Look, we have even chased the cloud away. So, thank you. I would now like to introduce Mr. Jahir Mauricio Palache from the Workers' Justice Project. Originally from Panama, Jahil is a construction worker currently living in New York. He will share his experience as an immigrant seeking decent work. Jahil will be speaking in Spanish. Please use the QR code to access the translation of Jahir. The floor is yours.
Buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Yair. Soy obrero de la construcción y activista del proyecto Justicia Laboral. Soy panameño. Comencé a trabajar desde los 13 años porque mi familia era muy pobre. A los 19 años tuve mi primer empleo. Éramos muchos haciendo fila en un proyecto de la construcción todas las mañanas y al final del día me contrataron. Nunca pensé en venir a vivir a los Estados Unidos. Mi esposa y mis hijos vinieron a visitar a sus padres. Un día decidieron quedarse aquí. Estuve viniendo de visita durante 8 años, hasta que un día me negaron la visa. Me quedé 3 años sin poder ver a mi familia. En mi país era especialista en seguridad y salud ocupacional, los que se dedican a eliminar los accidentes en la construcción. Aquí me cambiaron mi herramienta, una pluma, una computadora, por un martillo y una pala. Pensaba que en Nueva York viviría mejor, pero no fue así. En esta ciudad el sistema te explota, te obligan a no ser buen ser humano, a pasar por encima de cualquiera. Tienes que esclavizarte, salir de madrugada, recorrer 2 horas de camino y llegar con un jefe que te explota, te pone a competir con los demás. El jefe sabe que llegas con problemas. Ya lo ha visto antes. No le importan tus papeles. Ellos piensan que no vale nada. Ellos piensan que necesitas el empleo. Te van a ofrecer el salario mínimo para que te quedes. Te dirán que con el tiempo te lo van a mejorar. De esta forma te amarran. Estados Unidos necesita mucha mano de obra. Recurren a nosotros. A pesar de que hay leyes que impiden que los indocumentados trabajen, conocen las infracciones al acoso laboral, dónde están las deficiencias. Si revisan todas las obras, no se terminarán y el país no crecería. Muchos compañeros dejaron todo atrás. No tienen seguridad en volver a donde empezaron. Es la razón por la que aceptan todo lo que aquí les puedan ofrecer. Los jefes conocen sus derechos, pero si tú bajas la cabeza, van a aprovecharse de ese pequeño momento. Los latinos tenemos todo el conocimiento pleno para realizar las actividades que aquí se requieren. Saben que podemos hacerlos. Lo haremos a costa de lo que sea. Se puede ver en los edificios de las grandes ciudades que hay aquí. Nosotros los construimos, pero al final de la terminación de la obra no podemos volver a entrar. Para mí un trabajo decente es conseguir que un grupo de trabajadores trabaje correctamente, que saquen la productividad del día, sin explotarlos ni maltratarlos, que no abusen de sus derechos o se aprovechen de sus debilidades. No pido que me regalen nada. Dame lo que me merezco. Déjame darte lo que sé. Todos los trabajadores son decentes. Todos los trabajos son decentes cuando no atentan contra la voluntad ni los valores morales de alguien. La protección social exige que cada proyecto de construcción los obreros cuenten con seguro de vida, que se les dote de todos los equipos necesarios y que se les pague correctamente, que no les estén explotando con jornadas adicionales. Una persona que hace trabajo excesivo no puede funcionar ni en casa ni en la obra. Toda esta situación destruye nuestra salud y es un potencial peligro. Si no hay inspecciones en cada obra, no habrá protección social. Solo hace falta la disposición del gobierno. Pero no podemos esperar que todo venga de parte del gobierno. Para que algo cambie, primero tengo que cambiar yo. Ayudar a cambiar la mente de mis compañeros. Yo conozco mis condiciones laborales. Soy bueno con mis manos. Soy bueno realizando mi trabajo. Trato que mis compañeros, de aconsejarlo cada día a que hagan las cosas correctas, a que trabajen de forma segura, a que no se expongan a lo que les ponen el peligro del trabajo. Además, debemos crear organizaciones como un proyecto de justicia laboral a la cual yo pertenezco, las cuales se preocupan por la salud de cada trabajador, por la documentación y indocumentados. Les ayudan a reivindicar sus derechos, llevando a cabo incidencia política. De esta manera hemos participado en acciones en la Cámara de Representantes para asegurar un presupuesto con asociaciones como la nuestra. Pero el presupuesto anual se agava. Esto se gasta. Es necesario crear un fondo permanente para que estas instituciones puedan seguir trabajando. El mensaje que deseo que se lleven es: yo tengo que hacer mi parte, pero los gobernantes, los jefes, los obreros deben hacer la suya. No puedo esperar que en mi casa existan beneficios y comida y comodidades para mí, para mis hijos, sabiendo que yo estoy permitiendo que para otros, para el hijo del vecino, para el hijo del compañero, no existan las mismas condiciones. Lo que quiero para mí y para mis hijos, también lo quiero para el hijo del vecino, del compañero de trabajo. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Jahir, for sharing the difficulties of the immigrant experience in obtaining decent work, your advocacy and solidarity with others to ensure the rights of decent work to your community is inspiring.
I would now like to introduce Ms. Cynthia Samuel Olonjuwon of the International Labour Organization, Special Representative to the UN and the Director of ILO Office for the United Nations. Ms. Samuel Olonjuwon, the floor is yours.
Wow. It's really been a wonderful event, right? Who agrees with me? This has been awesome.
Yes.
Choir, you rock. But did you listen to those young ladies? Were they amazing? Were they inspiring? You guys are it. Yeah. Thanks for the great work.
Awesome.
It's really wonderful to be part of this. Thanks to our MCs, and it's very personally, I'm really thrilled that I'm part of this first. This is my first, but we have Jose in the house, who's been part of the organization for 43 years. Can we give it up for him? He's been doing this for 42 years. And let me really thank the ATD Fourth World for inviting us, for bringing us together. They took a risk. Matthew has been checking the weather since Thursday, whether we'll be outdoors or indoors or in between. It's turned out very well. Thank you so much for this event and for your consistency over the years. This is the 32nd with the UN. We're really proud to be associated with you, and we're really glad that the theme for this year is decent work and social protection. And it just doesn't end there. There's a colon, and it says putting dignity in practice for all. Yeah? I hear the amen. I'm tempted to say the amen myself. I have some of my colleagues here from the UN, Dessa from OHCR, and other colleagues who are involved in this very important responsibility. Before I share with you what I have here, in having listened to all those who spoke before me, I just felt I should share this personal dimension with you. That the interest in poverty is not just because I work with the UN or with the ILO. And the theme of this year's celebration resonates with me on a personal level. My mother was a house help. She started her life as a house help. And you can see the impact of education and decent work in changing not just her life but generations. She ended her life as the matron in a teaching hospital in her country. Education, passion, commitment, but more importantly, decent work. And I want to start by making bold that we cannot end poverty in a sustainable and inclusive manner if people do not have decent work. That's my first key take. We cannot, if people do not have decent work, we cannot end poverty if we do not address social protection in an inclusive, in an integrated, in a systematic and a sustainable manner. The example that was given brilliantly and passionately by one of the speakers who spoke so eloquently before me demonstrates that. If you won't take anything away from what I've said, take those two. And so the theme is so important, so pivotal, and it's not academic. It underscores that in practice for all dimension of the theme. While there has been progress in the journey to eradicate poverty, more engagement and accelerated action are required. All it takes is a short walk outside of this building that will see how significant the problem is. It stares us in the face. We see it, we live it, we know it. Not only at the global level, but at the local level. We need to work, we need to move from talk, and we need to do it together. There are many people who are trapped in total exclusion. There are many who are trapped in the vicious cycle of informality, but also working poverty. Statistics, and this is going to build on what my colleague, Mr. Wilmot, has already shared. 453 million people who wanted to work this year could not find employment this year. Out of those who are working, 214 million live on less than $1.9 a day. So they're working, but they're in poverty. Women earn approximately 20% less than men. And as was said earlier, it is totally unacceptable that 575 million people will be living in extreme poverty in 2030 if progress does not accelerate. It's not all gloom and doom. Let's look at some of the positive developments. The global unemployment rate is projected to decline in 2023. There are slightly fewer young people who are not in education, employment, or training. And then the trend on child labor is slowly decreasing. But the progress is insecure, the progress is uneven, and it is too slow. Too little, I won't finish it. Inequalities are worsening and poverty remains. I'll highlight three things in terms of key takeaways. First, poverty will not end without political will. It can't be lip service. We're all here, and there's a need to mobilize, and mobilize effectively, and should I say aggressively, to make sure that things change. And I go back to what I started with. We must recognize and we must hold our leaders accountable that decent work and social protection constitute the most sustainable and dignified way out of poverty. We can end poverty. As the Secretary General's statement says, it can be done, but it won't be business as usual.
That's right.
Decent work is not just having a job, as was illustrated by those who have shared their testimonies, either as migrants or in different capacities. Having a job does not guarantee a life of dignity. It does not necessarily free people from poverty. So when we focus on just creating jobs, we haven't started. It has to be decent work. And this is the key to eradicating poverty. It involves the opportunity for a fair income. I had that several times. Social protection, we had that graphically. It includes equality. It includes inclusion. It includes voice. There's so many dimensions of decency of work. It includes workplace safety. When we champion decent work, we unlock a world where everyone thrives, not just a few, but everyone thrives and society thrives. Proactive policies that put decent jobs at the center of not just macroeconomic but sectoral policies are crucial for eradicating poverty and reducing inequality. Second, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, investing in social protection and decent work requires human capital development. Our sister talked about the opportunities created by technology and the use of the virtual space. It requires us to formalize enterprises, enhance productivity, and secure higher levels of income. Poverty wages cannot eradicate poverty. As we speak, 4 billion people still lack any form of social protection. The financing gap to achieve social protection floor is 78 billion per year in low-income countries, which is just about 15.9% of their GDP on average. How much money are we spending on arms? I'll leave that to you. Third, we need to step up international cooperation for the poorest and the most vulnerable countries. This will help them recover from the pandemic, as well as ongoing conflicts, inflation, and all the other multiple crises that we are confronting. And this is to enable us build resilience to future shocks and climate risk. The ILO was established 104 years ago. And about, in 1945, there was the Declaration of Philadelphia. And I want to leave that with you. And one of the principles is that poverty anywhere is a threat to prosperity everywhere. The world has its vested interest in ensuring that there's no poverty anywhere, because poverty anywhere is a risk to prosperity everywhere. And this is where this is why the ILO strongly supports the Secretary General's Global Accelerator on Jobs and Social Protection for Just Transitions, which is one of the 12 UN high-impact initiatives for accelerating the SDGs. Again, it's no more business as usual. The world is becoming more unequal. The world is becoming more unjust. Injustice stares us in the face. And thanks to social media, we see the different dimensions. And poverty cannot be effectively put at the center if social justice is not seen as a core priority at all levels. And this is one of the reasons that the ILO's Director General has called for a global coalition for social justice. As we had last month during the SDG Summit, there's a crisis, and we have to work to change the needle. We have to work to course correct. Social justice is the starting point. And I commit at the personal level, and we commit at the organizational level, that we will rekindle, we will refire, we will reinvigorate to ensure that we work with yourselves and all other partners to make decent work and social protection to be the source of dignity in practice for all. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Ms. Samuel Longjalan, for those inspiring words and reminding us that decent work and social protections are the foundation for building a strong society. I would now like to welcome back Mr. Martin Kalisa, member of the ATD Fourth World International Team, to offer his reflection on the strength that people experiencing poverty show every day.
Good afternoon again. What a wonderful day. It's unbelievable. For the last 25 years, I had the privilege of living working with children, with young people, with parents, with a first-hand lived experience of poverty throughout the world. For me, that was a privilege. I have been a witness of their courage, their efforts, their intelligence, and their struggles for a fair and united society, despite the humiliation and the violence of human rights they face on a daily basis. It has been said, many people in poverty work in the informal economy. Most of them, they are not unregistered. Many are unrecognized and unprotected, facing difficult and dangerous conditions every single day of their lives. No matter they live, wherever, the reality is the same for people burdened by extreme poverty. They are deprived of employment or must work as I said, in an informal economy without any social and legal protection. It has been said, there is so much wealth in this world, and it is only a matter of making the right policy choices to ensure universal social protection become a reality. For many people, for all the people living in extreme poverty, survival mode is the normal. Yet, as we heard in today's messages, people who struggle against marginalization are not at all passive. They are not passive. These people, they get up every morning to do unseen work. Nobody sees it, but they are working. They work to support their families, their communities, and the entire community. Through acts of resistance and helping others, people in extreme poverty uplift and hold together their communities, but their contributions are not known. I remember a few years back when I was in the United Kingdom, there was a group of very poor people who did some work. They published a book which called The Roles We Play. They want to say they role in the community. When you see all the things these very, very poor people do achieve in this country, we can't imagine if they were not there what was going to happen in their neighborhood, and that is a fact. Those who face injustice, shame, rejection, and contempt know something that I can tell you no school can teach us. Only them, they can teach us. They can teach us the importance of human dignity, because they know very well what it means not to have dignity. People in extreme poverty show us that we can no longer escape the reality. The promises of fundamental rights are not being kept. It has said, you've said that the promises are not being kept. That's the reality. We believe that if we want to build a desirable future, decent work, it has been just said, must be a right for all and everywhere. All jobs must provide sufficient income to live on, have safe working conditions, and allow everyone the opportunity to contribute their intelligence and abilities. It's amazing. As I told, I've been privileged to live with people, to go on a journey with people with a first-hand experience of poverty, to witness their intelligence, their capacities, and their abilities, which our society is missing out. Equally, there needs to be social protection that ensures people are able to bounce back from life setbacks, one that allows us to take care of one another. The biggest support of very poor people in many countries are poor people like them before governments. For the 17th October International Day of the Eradication of Poverty, I would like to thank those who share the experiences of working in the informal sector and whose work is very often not recognized. Let us see them as full partners in rethinking the work today. If we want to rethink the work, we need to have people with first experience of poverty as partners. I take this opportunity to acknowledge the presence with us, Mr. Olivier de Scuter, the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Extreme Poverty and Human Rights. Thank you, Mr. Olivier de Scuter. Through our activism, let's put dignity in practice together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin, for your reflection. Now it is time for us for reflection. What is the society we want to build together? As we begin our gesture of solidarity, please listen to the following instructions. You have the paper shape that was distributed at the beginning of the commemoration. And let's think of a person, a situation, or a solution that comes to your mind after hearing all of the messages today. So please take a minute to write your thoughts on your paper. What is a society we want to build together? What can we do to make that happen? So let's just take 1 minute.
It's coming by here. It's coming by here.
Everybody has a paper? Yes?
No. We never included it.
And once you have written your message, please come up to the front to one of these boards and stick your paper to the board. All the messages that you have written will represent this ideal society we want to live in. So whoever ready, please come up to the front and leave your message there. And please stay in the front as we will be taking a group photo over here. So everybody must come up to the front. And we also ask you to take one little figurine made out of wire as a symbol of our common humanity and responsibility to take care of one another. So please come up to the front when you're ready. We will be taking a group photo.